Well, I've decided to make a second video on the subject of narcissism. This is plain talk because I'm a plain-spoken person. I don't have any kind of degree or education in psychology or this subject. The only professionalism that I have in it is that I have lived it and been a victim of it, and I'm currently in the process of coming to terms with what happened in my life and trying to bridge the gap, so to speak, of 2.5 years of not knowing about narcissism, not understanding what happened, just knowing that it was like a whirlwind in my life. It came about very quick and it ended very quick. And the only thing it seemed to do was just leave a path of destruction that only affected, well, no, it only affected people associated with me and this person. It didn't affect him. It didn't seem to at all. If it did, he was too proud, or I don't even know if he had any. I don't think he even had any pride. I guess it was just more or less like he was too conceited or arrogant. That's a better word, because that's what narcissists are. They're conceited. They're arrogant. They never accept blame. They transfer blame onto anybody, which is what this person did to me. Which, it was bad enough the way the relationship played out from beginning to end, but what was even worse was that it was all me. It was all my fault. The people associated with him, the people in his life, really saw me as this devil, homewrecker, terrible human being. And I've wore that letter, that scarlet letter, on myself for the last 2 years. But I finally, a few months ago, I started watching YouTube one night, and actually what had happened was I'd heard or read something, I don't even remember where I saw it, but it was on the subject of fake laugh. People with fake laughs. And I remembered very vividly having conversations with this person, and I'm a naturally humorous person. I'm always, cracking jokes and just coming up these off the cuff remarks of sarcasm. And he would, like if I was talking to someone, or if watching a television show or something funny, most people's natural reaction is to laugh out spontaneously and laugh, haha, that's really funny, oh, that's funny. This person, he would hear something funny, he would, or I don't even think he understood funny, but other people were laughing, so I guess he thought, maybe that's something I should be laughing about. So I remember it so vividly. Anytime anything humorous was said, he would sit there for a couple of seconds. 1, 2, 3. And then he'd laugh this kind of, ha, 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 kind of laugh, like, it was just so fake. And it was just so, like, he wasn't even trying to be fake. That was just him. That was just, he was just trying to show some type of humor where he had no sense of humor. The only thing I think he ever really found funny was other people's pain. I'm just making these videos more or less for myself. I may share them eventually. I might. I'd like to. The reason that I'm not showing my face, and I know that may seem like a cowardly act, but it's still so fresh in my life. I know it's been 2 years, but like I said, the fact that I'm just started, back to the original subject. I'm sorry for rambling, but like I say, I'm not following a script, so this is just really me talking as I go along. So anyway, I looked this up on Google, fake laugh, and it led me to a subject of narcissism. And I started reading, and the more I read, I'm like, oh my God, I finally get it. That describes this guy to a T. All the stuff they're saying. So there was a YouTube link to a video, and I went and looked at it. Of course, I start binge watching, and the more I watch, it's not so much the videos. The videos gave me a lot of insight, and it was really helpful. And I started hearing things that I had kept hidden inside of myself for so long. I started hearing these other people talking about this same stuff had happened to them. But it was the comment section that really helped them, because these were average, everyday people who were going through this, and some were still even living in the relationship, and some had just gotten out, and some had been 20 years out, and they were still dealing with this. And I'm sitting there thinking, gosh, it's been 2 years, and I'm just finally getting it. I'm just finally realizing that this was not your normal, average, run-of-the-mill end of a relationship. It was, planned out from beginning to end. And what bothers me, and bothered me then and now that I'm coming to terms with it and understanding it, it bothers me more knowing that I was a target. I don't understand why. I have my, guesses. But anyway, I just want to talk about how they choose their victims, their supply. I learned all these terms when I started watching the videos. Terms like target, meaning that they will choose somebody. And I don't think it's random at all. The more I think about it, how it all came about, I do believe that he may have seen me randomly. He may have seen some comments on somebody else's Facebook page and remembered seeing me, knowing who I was from the neighborhood. But then he did target me, and he had a reason to target me. But it wasn't long after that I got the Facebook friend request, and I didn't accept it right away. I wasn't 100% sure who he was. I did see that we had mutual friends, and I did decide after about a week I did accept his request, because I kind of had an idea of who he was. And so that was my first mistake. My second mistake, the first red flag I overlooked, was that he didn't have any pictures of himself, and just stuff like that, but he didn't have any pictures. And that was a red flag I should have caught. But when I asked him about it later, he just said, well, I had only really just joined Facebook recently, and I really never got around to, starting to add pictures. So I kind of accepted that reply, but later I figured out, he don't have pictures of himself on there, because he's got so many different women out there that he's either being involved with, or is trying to get involved with, or with so many husbands or boyfriends or somebody after him, because of the disruption he's caused when it comes to speaking, explaining himself. He has I guess he don't even know how. Maybe he's never learned. Maybe the narcissism part of him doesn't even understand or comprehend how to communicate. But anyway, I'm rambling. I've went around in 14 different corners and circled back, and like I say, this is just plain talk. Whenever I turn my phone on, I just start talking. I don't know what I'm going to say. I hope that eventually I'll come to some actual subject matter that I can stick to. But I hope that if I do decide to publish these videos and somebody out there watches them, that it kind of give them some insight the way the videos I've been watching have helped me. And I just want people to know, you know, sometimes it does take a while. And sometimes I really hope that it comes to an end for me soon, as far as thinking about him and thinking about what he put me through and what I allowed myself to be put through. And that's another thing, is blaming myself and carrying the shame. And like I said earlier, he had transferred the blame onto me, and I got labeled as this terrible person. And I'm just right now starting to accept the fact that I was the target, that he planned this. And the lies, the lies, the lies. He's a pathological liar. I would be very surprised if 1 out of every 10 things that he said to me were true. There might have been a smattering of truth thrown in, into his lies. But he lied to me from the get-go. He lied to me, and I've never really talked about this with anybody. I've a couple of friends early on I would try to talk to about it, and it just seemed like, everybody was just like, well, get over it, get over it. But they didn't understand it wasn't just your normal, split. It was a very abusive and damaging and emotional victimization of me. And I finally started learning how to deal with it, and that's part of this video that I'm rambling on, is learning how to deal with it. And as I